Hello again. Right, okay, I'm just going to whack straight in there. So, like with the negative response, it's a really powerful one for many of us. By the way, I just say it's a bit cold in here, freezing cold. You know, we've had the snow, the beast from the east, the dwarf from the north, and it's freezing cold in here. So if I'm moving around a lot or I've got my hands in my pockets, it's sloppy, I know, but it's really cold. So this thing I want to look at, which is a big one for all of us, isn't it, is I'm not good enough. So, you know, the first place that can start really, we can go to the National Gallery and walking down these fantastic paintings. You know, absolutely incredible paintings by what we know as the masters. Now, one thing, they're like presented in an immaculate way by professionals that really know how to present them well, the lighting in each of the room, the way it's all set up. Now I know a little bit more than I did a few years ago. Then I know it's a skill in itself, you know, presenting the work. And the work itself blows you away. So, you know, you look, the first impression, excuse the pun, is you think, oh, I can't possibly do that. And that grows into, I'm just not good enough to do that sort of thing. Which is perfectly natural. We all have it, I have it, everybody has this response. But, you know, where does it come from? So, just a little story, so you get to know me a bit better, maybe. Like a story from childhood. There I was, 5 years old, first day at school, well, a few days in at school. My sister used to take me. I was the youngest of 5, and they're all a lot older than me. Like this particular sister is 10 years older than me. Her job, take me to school, stood by the door, great long corridor. I was on my way down. I was aware that we were late. I remember this very well, and I was a bit worried because it was late and everybody was in their classes and I wasn't. So I didn't really feel like I wanted to go. I got more and more terrified as I got to the door. I opened the door, everybody turned around, all the children and people that I'd only just met. And the teacher was cross because she was trying to organise things, and I said, that's it, I'm off. Sorry, I don't feel like coming today, I said. Turned around and started to hurriedly walk towards my sister, at which point the teacher shouted. I was scared, so I ran towards my sister, who was looking concerned at the end of the corridor. I started screaming, crying and then screaming, at which point somebody appeared from a door on my left. I remember it was on my left. Strange the things you remember. Especially 50 odd years ago, and whack round the back of the legs. Boom. That shut the door on a certain part of my life for a really long time. And it's only recently really I've come to terms with the impact of just that one incident, and that I remember. And I'm sure, you all have things that you remember like that. Maybe a lot worse, maybe a lot more frequent, but it sort of kind of shuts a door on something. And also, for me, for a good 10 years after that, I sort of complied. In fact, I always had this fear of going outside of the box and not complying with the rules because, I'd get a slap round the leg. And of course, when I did go outside of the box or get out of my box, I did get a slap round the legs, in the form of stuff happening to me. So this not, so therefore, people, they're graced with talent, they're graced with money, and they're graced with people that really think they're great, so therefore that's why they produce paintings, great paintings. I couldn't possibly do that. So we've all got that to some sort of degree, and that's possibly why, we're going to do this painting course together, because we think, well, I still want to paint though. So why is it that I still want to paint? I'm going to cover that on a later module. It's just this thing about not good enough. So I just want to sort of throw some more thoughts your way, really, because I think it's really valuable to investigate where all this comes from. Like I say, I've got that little story, it's just one of many. So one of my inspirations in music, really, not because he was particularly reckoned to have a pleasant personality or anything, but his music really turns me on, is this chap, Miles Davis. I've painted a few times, and I really admire his whole approach. He had quite a hard time of it, and he was difficult to work with. But actually, what happened to him and what's happened to most people that become really accomplished at doing something is you have to work at it. You have to work at it consistently, and you have to really dig deep, and you have to do it when you don't want to do it, and you have to be really determined just to keep doing it. And so that formula strategy doesn't change. It's just so our approach as becoming an artist and really being able to make great paintings is that we have to go through these times where we don't want to do it, we don't feel like doing it, and we don't feel good enough. In fact, it happens pretty well for me with every painting. There comes a point in time where I just think I can't make that painting. But the more you do it, the more you realise that it's actually part of the painting. All human beings have this dynamic of the negative and the positive, the creative and the destructive. So it's in life, it's in every area of life, which I'm sure you're fully aware. So actually, the more that we engage with it and feel it and be honest and be able to share with each other our experiences, become authentic individuals, then the more likely it is that we will become successful in whatever endeavour that we are trying to carry out. So I want to show through painting, through the action of painting, works as a wonderful metaphor for the whole of the rest of your life, and becomes a great joy when you actually do overcome this distrust of the rhythm of life is what we sort of get, really. For me, it's sort of the picture of somebody, somebody's going to run out the side door and slap me hard around the legs. Even doing this, to share this course with you, to develop a business around sort of transforming that I believe I feel is deeply important for me and for others, is to be able to take control and power of our lives and actually show that we can do these things. It's a wonderful joy when you, for me, to be able to paint Miles Davis when even just 5 years ago at this time, I had no idea that I could even paint. So there's a few thoughts about I'm not good enough. Just to summarise, really, every human being has the makeup of having this resistance. It's a bit like an aeroplane can't actually take off unless it has resistance. It can't take off, as simple as that. So, I do respect completely these doubts that come up in everybody's minds, and they come up in my mind as well. but I recognise by facing your fears, these fears seem quite huge. By facing those fears, then you can get in touch with a real energy and life force, which you can translate into creating value for yourself, for other people, for your family all around you. So really what I want you to do, we've got the space, you've found somewhere, a space, you've got the time, because you sort of go, well, yeah, I can create some time. You don't need loads of time. The more I talk to you and the more we work together, you can do a hell of a lot in a short space of time if you've got a good focus on what you're doing. And so next time, it's like, I really want to tackle another question, so please tune in. And in the meantime, yes, please take notes, watch the video again, like I said before, and keep a note, keep some sort of journal about these different issues, because actually they're all become part of your great painting when you make a great painting with me on the next course we do, which I'm sure by then you just won't be able to resist doing it. Speak to you soon. Thanks.